anything about it. So because comprehensive immigration reform has been stalled at the federal level, I said to myself, what can I do at the state level? And so the Nevada now has one of the most comprehensive regulatory schemes for notarios and for paralegals. In terms of domestic violence, I passed now one of the most comprehensive domestic violence prevention laws. One of the reasons why Republicans fought me on it so much is because I added a component where we could have a third-party affidavit, specifically because immigrant and undocumented women sometimes were afraid to go to law enforcement. And so I created a mechanism by which undocumented women didn't have to go to law enforcement in order to flee their abusers. That's just 2 examples of actually a lot more examples. I need more time to tell you how many things I've accomplished. So thank you for the question.
Thank you. So you said both in my professional career, I just remind people that I worked here in North Las Vegas as a firefighter, from firefighter to assistant chief. When I started here, we had 3 stations in North Las Vegas. When we finished up, we had 7 stations, and I think we provided better service to this community because of that. While I was in the legislature, a number of things happened. I was elected the speaker, and that is a person who sets the agenda. Sets the agenda for the state and for that body. Things like healthcare, I've already noted on healthcare. That agenda was set to pass the Silver State Health Exchange and implement the Affordable Care Act. That's one thing. The economic development. The governor wanted to revamp the economic development plan. A partisan would say, no, let's not do that. I said, yeah, let's do that. And I got up and I passed a bill that was my bill, not the governor's bill. And now year after year, 5 years over, we've had growth in our jobs in the state. Education, just, I can go on and on education, but just one thing, class size reduction. You know that the smaller the class is, the better one-on-one you're gonna get with your students, the better chance they're gonna have. It's one of the things that I fought and passed in the legislature. So, again, we do need a little more time than 90 seconds to talk about our entire life's career, but that's best I can do in 90 seconds. Thanks.
Thank you. You know, a couple of things. I started my professional career as a college recruiter right up the street from here at the College of Southern Nevada Cheyenne campus. I served as a recruiter for 7 years. In those 7 years, I recruited over 5,000 students to go to college. That is why when I got to Carson City, this past legislative session, I passed the most important piece of legislation that I have ever worked on, which is the need-based grants for low-income students. So if you come from a background like mine, I'm not rich, I'm not wealthy. My family is not a political family. We don't come from a wealthy family. My mom's a housekeeper, my father was a farm worker. You know, if you want to make it, if you want to go to college, you have to depend on some of these grants to be able to go to college, to have that opportunity. That is why I teamed up, even with a Republican, and we passed the most important piece of legislation for higher education that we passed in recent years. And now, this precise semester, we have over 700 students going to college because of these Silver State Opportunity Grants. And number 2, the driver's authorization cards. I teamed up with my colleague, Senator Mo Dennis, and we passed the first ever driver's licenses for undocumented immigrants. You know, obviously, Congressman Hardy doesn't support immigration reform. And as long as we don't have immigration reform, we have to do whatever we can possible for the immigrant community here. And that is exactly what we did. Driver's authorization cards for undocumented immigrants, and now they can drive here legally.
Thanks, Sylvia. My career has not been in the state legislature. I'm not a career politician. This is my first time running for office, but what I have dedicated my life to is starting and running successful nonprofits that help students, particularly Latino students in some cases, have access to better quality education. After School All-Stars, over 40% of our students every day, 5,000 students, were in J.D. Smith, Bridger, have access to enrichment and tutoring programs after school every day. And that's been going on for 20 years. As board president of communities and schools, when I started 5 years ago, we were serving only 8 schools here in Clark County. Today, I'm proud to say that we serve over 56,000 students across the state. 44% of our students are Latino. 44% of our site coordinators, our workforce, are Latino also. So I'm supporting students, but also supporting workers as well. And most important with that, we get an 88% graduation rate. And finally, I want to say I've done a lot of work alongside you on the ELL Advisory Committee, fighting to make sure that Clark County School District revamps how it handles ELL education, because we all know it is vastly disastrous. Thanks.
I have one last question from our audience, and it's really just a quick yes and no question. So I'm just going to pass the microphone this way, and I'm going to start with Susie. So the question from our audience is, would you ever vote for a bill that you had never read or don't understand? Would you vote on that bill, yes or no?
You know how I work. I would never vote for a bill that I don't understand.
Absolutely not.
No.
Even if it's 1,000 pages long?
No.
So we have Congress people who will do their homework, so we can't go wrong on voting on any of them, because at least they won't cheat on that side of the job. I think with that, Vicenta, we need to wind up, because they want us out of here at 7:45, and I want to give our hosts an opportunity to wind up the debate and give you the proper thanks.
Thank you very much, Sylvia. I would like to have our partners come up here. Chris Hypock. And we also have the Latino Leadership Council, which was represented by Al Martinez. Apparently he hasn't been able to make it. Ah, come on down. You didn't have your hat? But I don't have my glasses. So we're a combination. And most importantly, I'd like to bring down Carlos Hernandez Pineda, who has done tremendous work in helping put this all together. And he has been the workhorse behind this, and basically handing out the jobs, and I just say, okay. And I will now turn this over to Al Martinez.
Buenas noches. How's everybody doing tonight? Let's give a hands off to these 4 candidates. I don't think we can go wrong. We will go wrong with the current congressman, and we've got to make a change. And I thank each and every one of you for coming up here and saying your viewpoint on the different things. But I can tell by listening to all of you, you all have similar things in common, but at the same time, you have something that's real different and different from each of you. But my thing to you is, we need one of you representing us. We cannot have anybody like the current person we got here. So thank you very much for tonight. And I do want to thank my friend Fernando back in the back, former Democrat.